Hello, this is Arturelia Anime Room Reviews. I'm Arturo, and today I'll be reviewing Death Note. I've heard a lot about it. I actually saw some of it when it was on Adult Swim, but I didn't really care much about it. And then, at some point, my mom started watching it in Spanish, and I felt interested to watch it. And so my mom and I sat down and watched it, and we really enjoyed it. But then it kind of went, by halfway. Well, today I'll be reviewing Death Note, a famous anime series of all time. Is it something worth your while since it's awesome, great, excelente? Or is it just an anime that's overrated? Well, let's go.
Death Note?
When a Shinigami is bored, he decides to drop his Death Note in the human world. A young man by the name of Light Yagami finds the book, and he soon starts writing somebody's name. But when you write someone's name, they die. And you could even write how they could die. He soon becomes someone that would be considered an anti-hero, as he starts to take out even the good guys, like the FBI that are trying to investigate him, or the Japanese police. He soon thinks he's a god. By the time he starts killing several people, a detective by the name L will try to solve the crime and find out who this killer is, that people have now called Kira, and try to put an end to his killings. Now, at first, the show makes you wonder who do you root for, because Light is basically killing off evil people in this world, and humanity does have crazy bad people. But then again, he thinks he's like God over everyone, and then he just becomes like almost like an antagonist. But then again, is Light doing the right thing or the wrong thing? And that's why L is pulled into this, and he starts to try to investigate it. And then we all root for L. The soundtrack in this show is really, really good, with its mysterious and sometimes guitar-y type feel. The first opening was really good, but the second opening, gosh. When my mom and I heard that, we just, like, by the second time, we skipped it. Because music was horrible. The animation is really good and really detailed with its character designs and all that, from Light's evil side to L's creepy face look. Yeah, the animation was great. Light Yagami was just an ordinary school kid, and a smart one, though he soon becomes like a Moriarty type when getting the Death Note. And L is more like a Sherlock Holmes character, just stoplight. You see Light go through changes of the Death Note really quickly. Then you just see that he's just as bad as a criminal. His Shinigami, though, Ryuk, is one of the best, alongside L, characters in this show. With him making that creepy laugh, and just watching the show right beside Light, to see how things are going to play out. Or also to see how long can Light keep this up. He basically just found this as a fun and interesting game. And yes, L was another part of this show that was entertaining. He acted like Sherlock Holmes in that he also eats junk a lot while on the job and sits funny, which actually makes you wonder, does he have Asperger's? And the way he holds things too, it's like, yeah, he's different. As for other characters, well, there are side ones and others that stick around with the main characters of the show while they are interesting and have their own part to play. And there was like these two interesting characters, a husband and a wife, which was they were very interesting characters, though there are twisted points for these characters. But one character, well, two and their group, as I like the group of the characters that come later in the show, the one leading them, he really isn't interesting, and that's Nier. I mean, he wasn't funny like L, and just really wasn't that interesting of a character. But for his friend Mello, He seems more like a bad guy, but he wants to do things his own way to find Kita. But I won't spoil it because I'm about ready to tell you about my enjoyment. But before I do that, the villain is obviously Light, as he just goes insane with power and you just want him to just go away by the time he just does everything from several episodes in. And his girlfriend is also just stupid because she falls in love for him, but she too works with him, aka Kita. But what's stupid about her is that she thinks he loves him, but all he's doing is using her. And the fact that they're basically working as partners to change the world. Now, as for my enjoyment, along with Mom, when we sat down and watched episode 1 through 25, it was really great. I mean, awesome. It was very different. I mean, I liked it, she liked it, we really both enjoyed it. Until episode 25 through episode 37. It went downhill by that point, and yeah, it got confusing with how the new character knew this, that. I mean, I guess you can piece it all together if you maybe rewatch it a few times, I guess. But my mom actually just got really confused. I mean, it really was good at the beginning, but until episode 25, the end of episode 25, it just completely collapsed. I mean, it just completely went downhill. But it's not like we get a bad ending by the end of it, or a cliffhanger. I mean, we do get a full conclusion. But I can just say this, without giving too much detail. I mean, it just wasn't the same by the time we keep going on after episode 25. I'm not saying the rest of the show is bad, or the episodes. I mean, it's still enjoyable, but it's just, well, when you watch it, you probably will know what I'm saying. Some people just didn't mind it, but I think by that point, the plot kind of just, I mean, it still had good elements. Don't get me wrong. I guess you could say you just wouldn't really feel the same tension like the previous episodes. However, you will be satisfied by the end of it all.
Can't guarantee it because we Shinigami don't normally work that way, but I suppose any time before the end of their lifespan should work.
Well, Death Note was awesome from the beginning until episode 25. Some people didn't care, other people were very disappointed by that. But I mean, don't get me wrong, Death Note is still got some great stuff to it, especially from the beginning. And you'll still probably enjoy the episodes afterwards. It's just, you will just have to be prepared for like a different thing that goes on. Now, how would I rate this? This is kind of the hard part for me because part of me says it still had a lot of good elements and some great characters, especially Ryuk. It still had some good stuff to it, and I gotta say it still holds out. But I would give it an 8 out of 10. It is great, but like I said, the middle part, you might have a different opinion about it. But it still holds a lot of good elements to keep it an entertaining ride from beginning until end. But I will recommend the Death Note movies, the live-action movies, which are actually better than how the anime ended up. And they actually got the same voice cast to come back and reprise their roles. But as of this moment, I haven't seen the third one. I only saw part 1 and part 2. And if you're interested, maybe the American one from Netflix? I haven't seen it yet, but I might watch it. Probably the best part about that film is only Ryuk. Because L in there does not seem like L. I mean, obviously they're taking a different approach, but he's not the same. It's from the anime or the movie, the Japanese one. Well, this is Arturelia Anime Room Reviews signing off.